Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, back with another black and white Pokemon upgrade. Today, we're going to be discussing how a new ability that Sableye gets in the Dream World makes it a very useful Pokemon. So let's get started. So first off, as you all probably know already, Sableye sports the very unique Dark Ghost typing, which yields no weaknesses, and that's really freaking cool for any Pokemon that really has it. I think Spirit Tomb is the only other one that has this typing, and it really allows Sableye to be a very useful defensive Pokemon if you think about it, because you know that nothing can hit it for super effective damage, unless of course you have something weird like a fighting type Pokemon using Foresight or something like that, but that doesn't ever happen anyways, so don't worry about it. But basically, this typing is very good for Sableye, and it allows it to effectively make use of its new ability which it gets in the Dream World, known as Mischievous Heart, which, if you don't know, is a move that gives +1 priority to all non-attacking moves, such as any stat reduction moves, such as like Metal Sound or something like that, or Confuse Ray or Toxic, like anything that basically doesn't deal direct damage has +1 priority. So that is amazing for Sableye because it has a lot of unique moves to make use of this ability with, and can definitely function as an effective defensive wall if you combine it with a bunch of its moves that it learns. Now, if you look at its stats, they're kind of not the most amazing stats in the world. You only have 50 HP, which doesn't really give you a lot of room to work with when you're trying to be a defensive Pokemon, but your 75 defense is kind of okay, and if you max that out, you'll have a pretty good defensive stat to work with Sableye. Now, its speed, being only 50, really isn't that great, but because we are using Mischievous Heart as our ability, then it doesn't really matter since all of our moves will generally have priority anyways. But overall, this new ability definitely allows for some interesting strategies for Sableye, and we'll get to a couple of those right now, so let's take a look at those. So first off, with this set, I'm going to have to first give credit to MML Frosty Pixie because she was the first person I ever really saw use this set or something similar to this on YouTube, and if you don't know who she is, she's a very bubbly, competitive battler that you can find on YouTube, so go search out her channel if you're interested. But basically, this set gives a bold nature to Sableye to increase its physical defense but lower its physical attack. And then we're going to be using the ability Mischievous Heart to allow us to have +1 priority on all of our non-attacking moves. Now for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into HP to give you your max HP, 252 into defense to give you your max physical defense, and then 4 for special defense to give you 1 more point into that. Lastly, for our item, we are going to be using leftovers as a way to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn, since we have so little HP to begin with, even with it being maxed out. Now, as for the moves, the first one we're going to make use of is Will-O-Wisp, because that will not only half the attack of any physical attacker, or special attacker, I guess, but they won't really be using that stat, and also give residual damage at the end of every turn. Now, since you are max defensive, using Will-O-Wisp in combination with that EV spread allows you to really take physical hits like it's nothing for the most part. So it's a very useful ability, or EV spread and move combination to make use of with Sableye, and since Will-O-Wisp will always have priority, you can pretty much count on being able to burn your opponents, unless of course it misses. With that though, we're going to be using Confuse Ray as a way to also allow your opponent to take residual damage from their own attacks, which is always great when they hit themselves in confusion. And I do realize that Will-O-Wisp halves attack, meaning that the damage your opponent takes from Confuse Ray is reduced, but still having the extra damage from Will-O-Wisp and the fact that they won't be able to do as much damage to you clearly outweighs the fact that they won't be able to do as much damage with their physical attacking moves to themselves when they hit themselves in confusion. Now with that, we're also going to be using Recover because that will have priority as well, since again, these are all non-attacking moves. And that's great because it'll allow Sableye to stay healthy in battle for a really long time, and even potentially stall out opponents because of the fact of Will-O-Wisp and Confuse Ray really being kind of haxy against your opponent. Now with that, the last move we can use in the set is either going to be one of these 3 that I listed below, and I'm sorry that I couldn't center them, but whatever, you're going to deal with that. If you're OCD, I apologize. But the first, obviously, is Taunt, which is a great move because it allows you to pretty much have a priority taunt to make use of, which is amazing on any Pokemon, and it also makes it so that other Pokemon cannot taunt you, since obviously you will have priority. And since this set pretty much relies on non-attacking moves, which taunt prevents, having taunt is a great move to have on your side to make sure that you can keep using the moves in the set without really having to worry about it. Also, we could make use of Torment, which is actually a really great move to use on this set as well, because it makes it so that your opponent cannot use the same attack twice in a row. And for example, if your opponent is, say, a special attacker or something like that, and they'll want to use their main stab move against you, well, if you use Torment, they can only use it every other turn, and you can recover on the turn they're not using their strongest move, and hopefully, stall out even more with the burn damage they may be taking or something like that. So it's a really cool move to use that changes things up a bit as well. But lastly, and probably in my opinion the most useful out of all the three moves for the last slot, we're going to be using Nightshade, since that does allow Sableye to attack and obviously deal 100 damage every turn, since your Pokemon will generally be level 100. So Nightshade is definitely a great move to use as the last move slot for this set as well. But as well, the Taunt and Torment could also be used if you want to try to be a little bit more creative with your stalling or something like that. Now, as for this next set, it is kind of a mixed defensive set that can not only counter physical attackers as well as the first set, but also set Sableye up in order to be able to take on special attackers as well. So first, again, we're going to give it the same EV spread and nature and ability, so Mischievous Heart, Bold Nature, 252 HP EVs, 252 Defense EVs, 4 Special Defense EVs, and then item leftovers again. But as for the moves, aside from using Will-O-Wisp and Recover like in the previous set, we're first going to be making use of Calm Mind, which is a move that increases your special attack and your special defense by 1 stage. Now, since we are max defensive bulky and using Will-O-Wisp to allow us to take physical hits as well, Calm Mind is there to allow you to take special hits a little bit better too, because of the fact that we're not really maxing out Sableye's special defense, and with no EVs into it, it's really not the best special defensive stat in the world. So Calm Mind will definitely help you out there in allowing you to take special attacks a lot better than you were previously able to. Along with Calm Mind, though, we're also going to be using a new move known as Bark Out, which is a new Dark-type move of 55 base power. It's a special move, and what it does is it decreases your opponent's special attack by 1 stage every time you use it. So, on top of the special defensive boosts and the special attacking boosts from Calm Mind, you're now using a special attack, which will hopefully, have more power after the Calm Mind boosts, and also lower your opponent's special attack to allow them to not really do a lot of damage to you on the special side if your opponent is a special attacker. And the next person that tells me that Bark Out is not a TM at the moment, I'm going to punch in the face, because I am aware of that, so I'm not being stupid when I make these up. But it will be eventually, so keep out on the look for that, because it'll be a great move to use on the set with Sableye, because you're not only increasing your special defense, but also decreasing their special attack. So with this set, you get a pretty much mixed wall to an extent, because it allows you to not only take physical hits just as well as the previous set, but also special hits when you can start setting up with Calm Minds and lowering their special attack with Bark Out. The only thing that you do have to worry about though with this set is because of the fact that you don't have Taunt, you're very susceptible to being able or being statused by your opponent or getting taunted yourself, so really only you can do is Bark Out, which really isn't the best option as an attacking move without any boosts from Calm Mind, but we are using it mainly for the special attack drop, so that's pretty much why it's there anyways. But it just makes you more susceptible to counter attacks from your opponents when they're using non-attacking moves. And you also don't have Confuse Ray, which is helpful on the first set, but on this set it really doesn't matter too much. So it really is kind of a choice between this one or the previous one. This one I came up with to be kind of a more versatile set, as opposed to the first one being like a purely annoying physical wall that I love a lot as well. But this pretty much shows that Sableye can be a very unique Pokemon in this generation, and just for reference, because you're using a Dreamworld ability, which is a 3rd gen ability, I'm sorry, a Gen 5 ability, You cannot use any of the moves that it would learn in 4th gen because of the fact that you have to get this Pokemon from the Dream World to use Mischievous Heart with it. So using moves like Spite or something like that would actually be illegal on a set like this, which is unfortunate because that would be awesome, but you can't, unfortunately. But that is pretty much it for Sableye, guys. I know this video is quite a bit longer than the other ones I've been doing for upgrades, but this one definitely is worth it because of the fact that Sableye is a very versatile Pokemon now because of this ability. But that is it, guys, so take care and goodbye.